All right, so good morning and welcome to the meeting, the January 13th meeting of the Downtown BIA, Downtown Brantford BIA Board of Management. And I'm going to start with the rules of Zoom meetings. At this meeting will be held virtually due to COVID-19 pandemic. I'll go over some of the rules for the procedure to the benefit of the members and the viewing public. The meeting will be streamed live through the Downtown Brantford YouTube account. All members of the committee will be muted upon entering the meeting, and then throughout the meeting when you're not speaking, in order to reduce background noise, please turn off your microphones. All web cameras for board members shall be turned on throughout the meeting. If a member needs to leave their seat, please leave the camera on so we recognize that you're away. Any board member participating shall indicate they wish to speak or ask questions by pressing the raise hand button if we have one. Otherwise, just raise your hand on the screen and I'll do my best to acknowledge you. And we have one because I see Joshua. Thank you. Movers and seconders of motions will be indicated by raising your hand on camera, and the chair will call out the mover and seconder are. All members of the board participating via online video conference will vote by a physical show of hands. A recorded vote will be taken by a net. In the event that the connection or service interruption occurs that affects quorum of the Board of Management meeting, we will recess the meeting up to 15 minutes to regain quorum. And if quorum is not achieved, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you. All right, Annette, would you like to go ahead with the roll call, please?
Barbara Sutherland.
Here.
Carrie Korfman.
Here.
Dwight Rose.
Here.
Kathy Oden.
Here.
Karen Towler.
Here.
And Councillor Wall.
Present.
Okay. Thank you. We'll move on to item 2 of the agenda, the approval of the agenda for January 13th. Dwight?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Kathy. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Carried. We have, do we have any declarations of conflict of interest? Seeing none, we'll move on to, we have no delegations. 5 consent items, and I would like to have someone move that the minutes of the December 9th meeting, as well as our executive director report, be received. The minutes be approved and the minutes be received. Dwight, thank you. Seconded by Carrie, thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, may I call the vote? All in favor? Thank you. Carried. All right, items for consideration. We're going to 6.1. We've unfortunately lost Bill Keeley to our board. I only knew Bill for the last year, but he was very supportive, and we're all going to miss him very much. That has left now 2 vacancies on the board. We're accepting his resignation with our regrets. 6.2, board vacancies. So the executive, yes, go ahead.
Barbara.
Oh,
Can we get a motion from the board? Each of these recommendations from the executive should have a recommendation from the board.
okay.
So if we can get a mover and seconder to accept it. Sorry.
To accept Bill's resignation.
Resignation.
Okay, Kathy and Dwight. All in favor? Good, thank you. I've always asked the question, what do we do if we don't accept? What do we do with Bill?
Yeah.
All right. The board vacancies. The executive committee reviewed 2 applications received, and there are 2 vacancies, and therefore there was no selection process. The applications will be forwarded to the city clerk and the city appointments committee to review and decide whether to appoint or not as per the bylaw. Do I need to do anything with that, Annette?
No.
No, okay.
It was
All
just an information item.
Okay. 6.3, change to the BIA bylaw. That the DBBIA Board of Management requests that there be a change to the BIA bylaw, Chapter 30, that the mayor, one member of council, and an alternate be appointed to the board. I'll just give a little background on this. We have trouble with quorum and
Oh, Barbara, sorry.
Go ahead, Josh.
So I think, I'm not entirely sure how our conflict of interest thing works, but I think this item actually does directly impact me. So I should probably not participate in the vote on this item. So I'm
Okay.
just going to step back for this item and I will return afterwards, okay?
I'm sorry, I'm deep in thought here because if you step back, we don't have quorum.
No, so conflict of interest doesn't affect quorum.
Okay, fine, okay.
So I will, I'll return after this item.
Okay, thank you, Josh. All right, so Dwight, are you moving this for me?
I'm going to move this so we can have discussion.
Right, thank you. Do you have a seconder? Thank you, Kathy. Thank you. All right, go ahead, Dwight.
Yes, I think this is a real workable item here. We've had a lot of problems with quorums and not taking anything away from the councilors or the mayor. We appreciate them quite a little bit, but under the circumstances here, it would be easier for us to attain quorum with the change to just make one of the existing councilors now or a councilor an alternate, and I mean they can attend at any time as well. But it just has to do with quorum and getting our business attended to. So.
Okay. Any other discussion? No. All right. So seeing none, can I call the question that will send this motion to council? All in favor? Right. Karen. All right. That was unanimous. Annette. Thank you. All right. And and Josh, you're back. All right. Thank you. All right, we're going to go on to 6.4, the strategic plan update. I believe each one of you has a copy of the strategic plan, just the outline as to our process. And, we've started by sending out the SWOT analysis for, and it was the previous SWOT analysis for the previous strategic plan. We're not changing the strategic plan, we're just carrying on and improving and adding to it. So the first thing was to get opinions, excuse me, from the membership and the board as to what we need to concentrate on as far as our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats. Have they changed? Have they increased in any way? From there, we'll develop an action plan and, get moving on addressing so many of the issues in a timely manner. We hope to have our strategic plan concluded by the meeting by February's meeting for approval. In the meantime, and I mentioned this in our last meeting, that Laurier has expressed an interest in being involved in the students being involved in our strategic plan, picking something that they're interested in. They can do this anytime once we've identified the SWOT actually. And they're going to make it a class project for about 3 months and come up with a solution on whatever it is that they've chosen as their challenge. And we really welcome their participation. I think it's great to work with our college and with our university. Having said that, any questions on the strategic plan? Yes, Dwight.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure when we undertake this changes to the plan here, that we, I suppose I can add it in when we get down to talking about it, but I thought one item was to undertake safety and security initiatives within the business improvement area. And the other item too was to advocate on behalf of the interests of the business improvement area. I believe that is pretty well covered in the SWOT analysis, but I just wanted to emphasize on it a little bit.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? All right. So we'll just plod ahead with that, and hopefully we come up with a really good plan and some achievable items on that. All right, we move next to 6.5, which is our marketing proposal from All Day Breakfast. And I know that Ben is here, and since you showed up this morning, Ben, would you like to take us quickly through this?
Oops, there, a little too heavy-handed on the mute button. Awesome, I would love to. Thank you, everybody, and good morning, and happy birthday to Karen. It's a special day. So to start off, so we wanted to work with the group, Food to Go group here in Brantford and Brant County. There's, every time I say it or talk about it, it's jumped by about 500 different members. So last time I looked, it was at about 8,000 or so members. And the idea is that we would sponsor that group and do a live show, much like the holiday live special we did, and give away gift cards from all of our restaurants that we have downtown. There's just so much diversity downtown, and there's so many restaurants that are in place. And this is the time of year that it tends to get slower. Now with the support local movement and everything that's going on, it's definitely not quite that slow, but we want to support them. And then through supporting them, you'll see in the next item down, we're going to highlight the different retail outlets that are available and the different services that are available in our downtown. So there's approximately 8,500 members from Brantford to Brant County. And I guess I skipped over that. So it's going to be a Eat Downtown at Home would be the campaign. And it'd be a live show for approximately 20 to 25 minutes, promoting all of the downtown Brantford restaurants, promote the restaurant e-guide throughout, and we'll talk about that in a second, and give away $25 gift cards to those restaurants. And that would be actually outside of this year's budget. That would be pulled from the Christmas budget because it didn't take us as much to do what we wanted to do in the Christmas campaign. So we're pulling that forward into January, which we're really excited about being able to do that. So the second item, or the first item of the 2021 budget that we're proposing is the restaurant e-guide. So Eat Downtown at Home. It would be a listing of all of the restaurants with links to their social media, to their websites. It would have all of the links to wherever they can be ordered, whether that be directly to them, Skip the Dishes, Uber Eats, DoorDash, whatever that might be, whatever they prefer, that's what we'd be highlighting in there. And then the ads throughout, as you're flipping through the guide, it would have the ads to the different retail outlets that we do have downtown. So we're highlighting the retail that we do have downtown, while highlighting all of the restaurants through this. And so this would be an e-catalog. So you'd actually pull it up. It would be available through our social media, through the website, and it would be able to you'd be able to just pull it up and be able to search through it and just pick and go directly to wherever you want to order. So it'd be a really great way to be able to highlight all of the restaurants downtown. The next item that we're proposing is explore downtown videos. So we'd be doing one video per quarter, and this would be highlighting a multitude of businesses and just the exploration of downtown. And depending on where we are and what's going on, they would be revised to be able to include and make sure that they have the proper messaging depending on what is available and what is going on with all of the restrictions and lockdowns. This is my downtown campaign continued. I absolutely love this campaign. We started this last year. I'm sure everybody has seen those. but we highlight a different business every single month. And it's not necessarily a focus on the business, it's a focus on the business owner, community leader, or we also highlighted Sergeant Grantham last year too, which received really good feedback. But it's all just about highlighting the people that we have downtown that are supporting our downtown, that make our downtown special. Everybody that's on this call today had made a decision to be a part of our downtown, and it's important that we highlight those decisions. So we'd be continuing with that throughout the rest of the year, one article per month. Social media posts continued, so we'd be looking at 2 posts a week throughout the entire year. And then photography as well, so continuing on with the seasonal shots per quarter, just making sure that we're staying up to date with the photography that we have and capturing any new businesses that might appear downtown. It was incredible to see the amount of new businesses that popped up throughout the entire pandemic last year. So it's important that we can stay up to date on that and with what's going on, just to make sure that we're up to date as possible with everything going on downtown.
Thank you, Ben. You did a fascinating job last year, and thank you for putting this together for us this year. All right, I need a motion, Annette, do I? Yes, okay, let's, Dwight, are you making the motion to accept the proposal?
I'm making a motion that the DBBIA Board of Managers accept the proposal from All Day Breakfast for marketing for in 2021, and that the board can alter the proposal if needed.
Okay, you have a seconder? Kathy or Karen? Karen, thank you. Happy birthday. Go ahead, Joshua.
Thank you. Through you. I just wanted to give a shout out to All Day Breakfast for all the hard work they've been doing to promote our downtown. I really think this is a very efficient marketing plan, especially given the current conditions that we're facing to the downtown. And I think it's a great combination of everything that we've kind of been building to for the last couple of years through marketing. Also, I think it bears to note that it's been incredibly exciting to watch as All Day Breakfast continues to grow. They're doing some really exciting campaigns just in general outside of what they're doing from us. And it's really cool to know that we have such strong advocates promoting our beautiful and downtown. We need all the support we can get. And I'm very thankful that they care so much, because, you know, we could be worse off, significantly worse off. So thank you so much, Ben. Please pass that on to Bernie and the rest of your team, and keep on keeping on.
That's great. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, I'll call the question and the vote. In favor? All right, and that's carried. Thank you very much. All right. 6.6, surveillance cameras in the downtown. Sorry, Annette, I need your guidance this morning. Are we going to start with a motion on this?
Where did he go? Steve's here to speak about the security downtown.
Yes.
And I believe, is it Dave Minatello's here to talk about surveillance cameras, or even Dave Parker? So anyway, I'll start at the beginning. We had a couple meetings with the city about the surveillance cameras and decided to reach out to the membership to find out what they wanted. So we did a survey of the membership, and the majority supported the installation of surveillance cameras. So the executive committee is suggesting that we support that. I've included in the agenda package a map that was provided to me of the different areas. And if Sergeant Minatello wanted to step in and talk about it as well, that would be great.
Okay, that would be great. Go ahead, Sergeant Minatello.
Okay, so late last year, the Ontario government offered a grant called the CCTV program for the downtown core. We applied for that grant and we were successful in obtaining that grant, which provides 50% of the coverage for putting a program in the downtown core for video cameras. I looked at the crime stats in the downtown and came up with those 18 locations where I believe the cameras would be the most beneficial. So as part of my application, I wanted to reach out to the Downtown Better Business Bureau as well as the Wilfrid Laurier University, because we're working in conjunction with the city. The one thing to note is the Brantford Police Service is not going to be monitoring these cameras. It's actually going to be city run, and that the Brantford Police have to ask the city for video if we ever need it. So going to be a passive system that is set up with the city. And we are working on looking at the privacy concerns and having assessments for the risk and if they are movable as well. So myself and Steve will be touching base later on as we move forward with this project.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think what we'll do is then move ahead with a motion, and then we can have a discussion if we want to. So could I have someone come forward with the motion, Dwight? Oh, sorry, seconded by Carrie. All right. Any discussion on the cameras? Any questions? Go ahead, Carrie.
I'm just wondering, Annette, I think I mentioned before, did you review all the spots that the cameras are being placed, just to make sure that nowhere has been missed?
I sent it out to everybody. I had a look at the spots. They seem to make sense. And I know that there's some other proposed locations. I'm guessing if more money comes forward or something, there's ideas for other spaces as well.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you reviewed it and made sure there wasn't any big gaps anywhere. Okay.
Go ahead, Kathy.
Thank you, Barb. It doesn't, of course, the map is a little bit hard to follow, perhaps the exact location. I just don't really see if Harmony Square is quite covered. There are areas around Harmony Square. I'm wondering if that was a spot that is going to be covered with some kind of surveillance. And of course, it'd be nice to know if they are movable. That would be great. If we're finding certain areas we want to relocate them to as time goes by.
I can speak to that.
Can you answer that? Go ahead.
Yes, Harmony Square is on our radar in terms of an area that's going to require coverage. So it is actively being considered for adding surveillance there.
Okay. Thank you. And then you don't know yet about if they're movable or not yet.
We are still in the process of finalizing the surveillance equipment that we'll be moving forward with, but that is one of the goals we have on the basis of making our selection of the appropriate equipment that will be sustainable moving forward.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. Karen, go ahead.
I just have a question around the location of 274 Colburn Street, and I don't know what the opposite side of Dalhousie would be, where the Salvation Army is, and I'm wondering if any of the cameras are capturing that area. 274 Colburn Street is where Conestoga is located, primary, a lot of activity pre-COVID, and I'm wondering if anything is around that location. From what I'm seeing, I can't tell.
There are two cameras, one set to go at Colburn and Colburn and Clarence, and one at Dalhousie and Clarence, where it would provide some coverage up on both sides that would grab the Conestoga area as well.
Super. Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Dwight.
Yes, I was just wondering if there was any consultation went in with, I know the university and I don't know about Conestoga College, but there's a number of cameras in operation in the downtown core now with like private cameras and that. So I was wondering if there was any consultation or that went into to this to get the maximum out of what we're trying to do here. I know they're not monitored 24/7, but they're used in case there is a need if something comes up to get the information. I was just wondering if there was any consultation or anything went into thinking about that.
Yes, yes, I have been in contact with Wilfrid Laurier University, and I'm continuing going through with theirs as well as reviewing their policy in regards to the privacy so that our policy will match up and we'll have the most seamless coverage in the downtown between the two organizations.
Okay. Carrie, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm just wondering, I thought at first it was supposed to be that the police would have access to the video and be able to go in. Why is it now that you have to go to the city to gain access for it? Just wondering the logistics of that and whether it's going to cause problems, whether you won't be able to access video as readily as maybe you should be able to.
It's not a problem. The same thing with Wilfrid Laurier. If we ask for video surveillance, the special constable system will provide it for us. With the city maintaining the video, it's not going to be abused. There can't be any switch as to, well, why are we using the video? How are we have to have a legitimate reason for the video, and we're going to ask for it for every time that there is a crime that's occurred or we're conducting proactive enforcement in the area. It's just logistically and optically, it looks better if the city is maintaining the video more so than if the Brantford Police has that video at their disposal ready.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? All right. All right, so having said that, we have a motion on the floor to support the installation of the surveillance cameras. May I call the vote on that? And we have, yes, thank you. That passes, Annette. Thank you. I look forward to that. All right, 6.7, social behavior in the downtown. And Annette, do you want to discuss the property manager concerns and the expositor article?
Okay.
If you're comfortable doing that.
I received, I'm just going through my, I received an email from the property manager from GK York. I sent it out to everybody, so everybody has it, discussing issues at 175 Colburn Street as well as other locations. As you can see from the pictures, there was multiple syringes and things like that. This email was sent out to all the city councilors, the mayor, the expositor, and the police. I believe he received 2 responses back, one from the police, one from the expositor. The expositor wrote an article about the situation. Yeah, so this is more of an information item. I'd like to say I was concerned about one line in the expositor. I wasn't sure if the police could respond to this. It said that Brantford police officers arrived to speak to the group but left, saying they could do nothing because the gathering was on private property and the loiterers wouldn't give their names. So that leaves me concerned, even as a property owner, that would be the situation.
Dave, do you want to address that?
Yeah, I can address it. I was directly involved in the email string originating from GK York to my attention. So it's my understanding, and I did a little bit of research as to the officers that responded to the incident. And it's my understanding that they went there. There was a gathering of people. They did notice the syringes, and the officers are bound to enforce a few different legislations at that point. First one's the Trespass to Property Act, which we're frequently dealing with at this location. I just actually am responding to an email this morning regarding the same trespass issue at that location. When there's a large apartment complex, it's difficult for the police to determine who can legally be there and who cannot under the Trespass to Property Act. This is due to they could be invited guests from any occupant of any of the dwellings in the apartment complex. The second fact that we have is the Safe Streets Act, which allows us to enforce the disposal of syringes only in a public place. And that's our enforcement action. And unfortunately, this is a private property, so that takes the Safe Streets Act enforcement off the table. Thirdly, we're dealing with the street check legislation and the ability to identify people that are not committing criminal offenses. Our hands are severely tied with the street check legislation, more commonly referred to as carding in the GTA area. But there's very, very strict guidelines in our ability to identify people that are not committing criminal offenses. And this, again, severely ties our hands and makes it difficult for us to determine whether or not people are legitimately supposed to be on the premise or not. What would help us greatly at that address would for there to be one contact person who could attest to whether or not people are or are not allowed to be there. That specific incident, officers went and we've had over 40 calls in the past couple of months to that address, and each time the complainant wants to not be identified. So we don't have somebody to speak to in regards to whether or not legally the people are supposed to be on or off the premise. It's a big gray area. You know, obviously the officers, if they get there and they find somebody sleeping in the vestibule, you know, we can thus determine that they're likely not supposed to be there and conducting that type of behavior. But sitting and mulling around and sitting in a smoking area, it's more difficult for officers to determine that.
Thank you, Sergeant Parker. Okay, any further discussion? All right, seeing, oh, sorry, Kathy, go ahead.
Sorry, I should speak to it since I'm from GK York. Yeah, you know what, we're weary as property managers. It's been hard, and I really believe COVID has magnified some of the problems we're dealing with between homelessness and addiction issues in different areas of the city, but of course, downtown, it seems more visible. So yeah, my property managers have just grown weary and tired, and especially when we felt like we just couldn't get the help that we needed. And that's why my one property manager just decided to reach out to everyone and get whatever help that we could to help support our frustrations. And but we just took over management of the building at 175 Dalhousie in November. So it's just kind of a straw that broke the camel's back, I guess, dealing with all these syringes. And I know the city is working on multiple different things. And that's fantastic, especially now going back to the health unit or the LINs about these, you know, sharps being given out. So we don't understand. We see it firsthand. We don't understand why people need to go and get a box of 100 syringes. And, you know, I guess that brings us back to the safe injection site. It would be nice if a safe injection site we're set up, but that also needs to be handled properly too. So if someone is going to use, they go there, they get their clean syringe, they use it, they leave the used syringe, and that would solve a lot of the problems with, you know, syringes everywhere around the city. And this has been going on for years. This is not new that there's been syringes left around the city, and it's been a battle. But I know that the city is pushing back and asking for some kind of a report on how is our government, they handed out this great idea, and it was to protect people's health, but it's caused other problems in doing that. So that's one of the issues we're dealing with. And of course, these are huge issues. And one thing I think as business owners and property owners, our staff almost feel that we almost need a victim restitution grant or funding agreement, that there's a lot of businesses downtown and property owners downtown and otherwhere in the city. It's not just there, but since we're focused on the downtown, when we're dealing with graffiti and, you know, vandalism to buildings, human feces, and having to clean up these things, and some of them are just geared because of COVID issues where everything was shut down, and so people had less places to go. And but there's a big cost to these things. We feel as though we have to gate up now every property, and it's like, we were just talking about this yesterday with my staff. I almost feel like, welcome to Brantford, but here's a picture of a fence, because every building's going to end up with a fence around it to keep problems out of the area and push that nuisance issues away. And we don't want to see this, but we almost feel as though we have no choice. Start fencing up everything to keep the problem away, and allow residents within a building to have a safe place that they can go and sit at their picnic table and enjoy being outside. So I don't know, you know, we're not using the facade grant. Maybe we should be using it for a victim restitution grant to help property owners with these costs, of whether it's security costs or cleanup costs, repair costs of these issues that have nothing to do with the property owner or the business. This is a nationwide problem that we're dealing with between homelessness and addictions. So just a thought out there to throw out that you can mull around. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. That was an excellent thought. I don't know if Councillor Wall wants to weigh in on this or not, but I think, you know, you could, you know, outside of this meeting, perhaps we could all get together and discuss this. All right, we'll talk after the meeting and see if we can go further with another group of people, another committee. All right, thank you. All right, we're into development updates, but I don't think we have any. No more updates. And now we're with Sergeant Grantham, who is now Dave Parker, I think. Any more updates from downtown activity, Sergeant Parker?
Hi again. Sergeant Grantham sends his regrets. He's actually tied up this week in training. So I will give the stats, probably not in the same effectiveness as he's used to providing, but hopefully I'll get my point across. So December stats, specifically for the service and the beat unit. The service investigated 34 assault investigations in December 2020. The beat unit comprised 4 of those investigations. Service-wide, the service handled 3 robbery investigations. None of them were attributed to the beats or the beat area. Intoxicated persons, once again, the service investigated 8 of them in December, which one of them was attributed to the beats. Mentally ill persons, there were 67 investigations in December. Service-wide, the beats accounted for 2 of them. Break and enters, service-wide 39 for December, and the service accounted for, or the beat unit accounted for 5 of them. Stolen vehicles, 33 for the month of December, 0 of them attributed to the beat or downtown unit. Theft from motor vehicle, which is usually very, very common, especially in December. 27 of them for December, and 0 of them attributed to the downtown. Disturbance, which incorporates a wide range of incidents. 16 of them were investigated for the month of December, service-wide. 3 of them were investigated by beat officers. The most striking number was 64 total arrests of the service in December. People were arrested, 64 of those people. 10 of them were attributed to the beat unit. Beat unit has had a couple of hits lately. We're understaffed. We're down to 3 officers with 1 of them on leave, which brings us to 2 officers, and 1 of them doubles as our emergency operations center liaison for enforcement. So he's wearing multiple hats as well. But to have 10 of the 64 arrests in December attributed to 2 beat officers attest to their level of work and their commitment to the downtown. So that's all the stats that were provided to me, and I'm willing to take any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions of Sergeant Parker? Looks like you did a great job, Sergeant Parker. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to council updates. Councillor Wall.
Good morning once again. Okay, so I mean, there's a lot if you really want to talk about everything, but I mean, everyone can individually message me. I know Gagan is probably going to provide a pretty good update too, so I'm excited about that. Okay, so as soon as the second lockdown kind of came into effect, more so than normal through the province, we started receiving calls from private residents who live in the core about parking. It happened when the pandemic first started, and it happened again. So after some discussion, it was decided that parking in the parkade would become free for the remainder of the lockdown, which I think is huge because people need a place to park. There are people who live downtown who are used to parking and moving their car and doing whatever, but they're not going to work now. And, you know, while it is still the responsibility of someone who lives downtown to figure out their own parking situation, a little bit of leniency from the city doesn't hurt, and providing free parking in the parkade for the time being is just helping get residents' cars off the streets and leave the streets open for their regularly scheduled maintenance, snow removal, garbage collection, as well as the number of businesses downtown that are doing Skip the Dishes and Uber Eats, or whether they're doing porch pickups. There are still businesses operating in the core, and we can't have free parking on the streets. It's just not feasible. So obviously you saw the rollout of the downtown security, which has a number of different locations. Just as a point, because it's been contentious online, they are meant to be complementary to already existing services that are existing down the town. You know, the bylaw officers, obviously our police department and first responders, as well as any independent private security that's happened through business owners. It's complicated, but essentially it is a priority to the city of Brantford. Is in fact one of our top priorities is for a safe and prosperous community. So by trying this pilot project, it is meant to emphasize that, but it is definitely not meant to replace or do the job of police officers. It's just that, you know, as they mentioned today, they are taxed. Our beat units are being pulled out of the downtown. We need a secure presence in the core right now. So we'll see how it goes. But this was something that was specifically requested by the businesses and the people of the downtown. They wanted to see security. So I hope you'll all be very opinionated about it, because it will be the people who determine whether or not this program continues. Beyond that, there is just a lot of good stuff happening in the downtown. We're getting ready to unveil Colburn Peak right when you come across the Lorne Bridge. I think I'll ask Gagan maybe to speak to that a little bit, because I think that's in her wheelhouse. But essentially, we're going to be putting out a call to developers and the community to see what they want to see built at this very prominent point as you come into the downtown core. And that's going to be beautiful. It'll be welcome to the downtown. Here, look at this beautiful architectural wonder or marvel. And I hope that the BIA will be a big part of that, because more development downtown, more residential homes downtown, more businesses downtown are what the future of downtown is. And 2020 sucked. So I'm not going to let 2021 hold me back. I'm not going to let 2021 stop me. We are going to continue to have a very safe, secure, prosperous, and amazing downtown core. And I hope you'll all join me for that. So if you ever want to talk about the downtown, it's probably one of my favorite things. I'm downtown right now in my office by myself because COVID. But I'm here and I'm downtown and I want to talk about downtown. So if you ever want to hit me up, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wall. Dwight.
Yes, I'd like to ask Councillor Wall there about the city's physical security guard team there. It's a 24/7 operational scenario, so it is, and it's just more or less for the city's properties and or what are the other perimeters? Are there something else going on? Are they instructed to get the police involved when it's something else? And what's the length of this pilot project? It started January the 11th. Is there a 3-month period that we're going to run with this and see if it can continue?
So that is a fantastic question, Dwight. And I wish I had all those answers for you right now. But what I'm thinking, and this is something actually I was going to talk to Annette after the meeting, I'm hoping that they could come to the BIA meeting and introduce themselves, whoever's in charge of the security, and answer any and all questions that this board might have. So with this board's indulgent, I'd like to ask Annette to do that, to reach out to the city and have a representative come to the next meeting to answer all the questions and perhaps even provide an update. And if you'd like, I will get those answers for you. I don't have them. I know from the Gagan, do you have any backup here?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I actually invited Steve, who is overseeing that project on behalf of facilities management. So if you have questions related to the security program, he can speak to it.
Wow. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Joshua. Thank you. I can answer.
Sorry, thank you for being here. No one told me. No, it's okay. It's all good.
It was a last-minute decision. Sorry.
Thank you.
No worries. To answer your questions, Dwight, our team is responsible for city property across the downtown area and various other city properties across the city. When it comes to private businesses and intersecting properties, we will be covering a lot of those types of properties along our patrol route, and our team is instructed to engage with Brantford Police Service as required if we encounter any incidents that require attention regarding safety and security. And this is expected to be it is a 4-month pilot project. So throughout the process, we're going to adapt the program to best meet the needs as we go along, and also to account for feedback we receive from the community partners and city staff.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. That's great. Any further questions, comments? No, seeing none. All right. Thank you so much, Joshua. We'll go on to 7.5. Kristen, you're finally up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kristen. I'm the Community Events Coordinator with the City of Brantford. Unfortunately, I don't have too much of an update other than the skating rink is still operating in Harmony Square at a capacity of 10 while we are in the gray lockdown. And it's hustle and bustle there all day. It's absolutely amazing to see. I was in the office last week. But if anyone has any questions other than that, I'd be happy to answer them.
Annette has a question.
Will you be moving forward with events coming up in 2021, the organization of them in the hopes that they happen, or 2021 is done, we won't be doing anything?
Yes, so like the rest of the world, we are still waiting to see what's going to shake down with the whole COVID situation. But we have applied to a grant. I can't seem to remember if I mentioned it last time, but we did apply to a $100,000 Brantford Live grant back in December. So we're just waiting to hear back. So that is just reconnecting festivals to the city that are safe for everyone to attend. So it's a lot of drive-through events. So we're just waiting to hear back for the approval of that, which it's full steam ahead if we get that. Otherwise, we are planning on moving forward with events in 2021 unless something changes, but obviously adapting them to be safe for our community to attend.
Excuse me. Thank you, Kristen. Dwight, do you have a comment?
I had a question for Kristen. I noticed Harmony Square with the public skating there. It appears to be going really well in a protocol. I know with they're only allowing so many people. What are the hours of operation? Is there somebody there, after hours, so people aren't congregating around there, or how is that being handled?
So the ice rink is open from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. We do have on-site park staff that start in the morning. Unfortunately, there is no one there overnight. We don't have security or anything. I know the rink has been extremely busy recently, especially on weekends. So I did hear that they're in talks of either increasing the staff or having security on site just to kind of monitor the situation. Right now, we just have one staff attendant doing contact tracing and monitoring the numbers, but nothing's been set in stone.
Go ahead, Dwight.
I was going to ask Kristen, and perhaps this is something that the city's physical security guard team could keep an eye on in the after hours. If they're running a 24/7 operation, I don't know if there's any problems with it, but with this COVID and the lockdown and everything, we certainly don't want to have people abusing things and the rest of it. So I just thought I'd bring that up. If we have a physical security guard team, that may be it's a city property. So
yeah, I can speak a little to that. Harmony Square has been added to the list of the surveillance monitoring. So they will be attending Harmony Square after hours to keep an eye. They just won't be permanently there, but they are on the list to monitor, which is good.
Okay, good. All right, thank you. Thank you, Kristen. We're on to Beth Gurney from Wilfrid Laurier.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. So just a few quick updates. Like everyone else, we mostly just have our essential workers on campus, our facilities folks and special constables to make sure things are running in a safe fashion. We are continuing remotely, which was already our plan for the remainder of this year. We are planning ahead, but as Kristen sort of alluded to, all plans at this point involve 2 or 3 contingency options, but we are going to be trying our best to plan for the fall, especially when it comes to space. That's the big thing. If we have restrictions on space in terms of how many people can be in an area, it becomes quite a job, but we're working through it. I'm really thrilled to announce that Suvankam Tamavangsa, who I shared before, is a Laurier Creative Writing Instructor at the Brantford campus, won the Scotiabank Giller Prize. We've actually just formally announced that she is the inaugural Laurier Stedman Fellow. So the Stedman Foundation provided funding for the Laurier Stedman Prize, which is our biannual creative writing competition for high school students who live within our catchment area. And that same fund has provided an opportunity for us to basically secure Suvankam as sort of an affiliate of the Laurier Brantford campus for 3 years. So we hope to have opportunities for students as well as community members to access her expertise. If anyone's got that manuscript in their top drawer that they keep working on because they're an aspiring novelist, that kind of thing. So we'll have more information coming, but it's just something we're really thrilled about. We are planning to host an event with her, again, whether that's virtual or in person. I'm assuming it'll be virtual at this point. But we want to use it as an opportunity to celebrate her success and to elevate not just the reputation of the campus, but also the community, because a lot of the, we did some research this past year with our current students, past students, students who perhaps went to a different university for a program that we offer in Brantford, just to get a better handle on what all those factors are. And just awareness of Brantford in general was actually a challenge. Students are maybe really proud of their program, but have to explain to family members, no, it's not in Waterloo. And yes, there's a Brantford campus. And so even though we've been around over 20 years, we still have some work to do on that front. So we definitely want to take all of these opportunities when we can get attention at a broader stage like this to let people know we're here and that we're fantastic. And work does continue even though we are remote. The Student Life Levy, which is a fee that is charged to students in their student fees every year, goes into a pot of money that then can be applied to as a grant for different programs. So two people who were Laurier employees at the time, one has recently moved on to another opportunity, but Jess Calvary and Melissa Heeman, both Brantford campus alums, and were student leaders during their student days, and then became employees at Laurier, applied for this fund, and they've secured dollars for us to refurbish a space in the lower level of One Market. So that work is ongoing, and the money is going to be there to provide things that are movable, so that when we return to campus, students are going to have a dedicated space for them to socialize, because our research told us that's a huge want and need on the student part, is to have that common space. So work is going to be going forward with that, but all of the investment is going to be in movable pieces, so that if and when we have to renovate or move that space, because the incremental renovations at One Market will be ongoing, those assets can still be moved and used and enjoyed by the students. And then just building further on that, we based on that research and the awareness issue, we actually invested quite heavily in a Brantford specific digital marketing campaign. It had 5 different videos that featured students from the Brantford campus and highlighted our specific programs that we offer here. We've had a philosophy in our branding of sort of One Laurier, a multi-campus approach, which is intended to give actually parity for Brantford, as opposed to us being, deemed the smaller satellite campus, but it's actually worked against us a bit on the awareness side. So we've actually done this really aggressive campaign and had some fantastic results. We got it to market before the holidays, knowing that the January deadline for applications is when a lot of high school students and families are doing research. And we had a custom Brantford landing page that really promoted what you have to offer, that had, I think, over 8,000 hits coming from that ad campaign. So really great to see, and we hope to continue building that momentum. We won't know, obviously, until further down the road what the official application and conversion rate is, but I'll be sure to keep the BIA in the loop on any of that activity. So that's me for this morning. Thanks, Madam Chair.
That's great. Thank you, Beth. Any questions of Beth? Oh, you did a great job. All right. Oh,
Barbara.
sorry, Councillor Wall, go ahead.
Can you answer questions about One Market?
I can try to, sure.
Is there anything, like, I can't even imagine, like, I remember last time I was there, everything was so exciting, everyone was launching, and obviously things haven't gone the way that they've intended, but what's the latest? Is there any news or updates, or what's the plan moving forward?
Sure. So there's a lot happening. We actually, and that's, we've had internal conversations about this, because I think the external impression is that sort of we've thrown, covers over all the furniture and locked the doors. But that's not the case, especially with One Market. There's a lot of activity still happening there. And there is a dedicated steering committee. So there, I'm just trying to think about, outside of the student lounge, which is taking up a good deal of square footage in the lower level. There's a ton of conversations going on about an entrepreneurship hub and potential reuse of the theaters upstairs. So there are a lot of pieces. I can't publicly talk about where they're at, but I guess we know that we need to do a better job of sharing that work that's going on, because the individual, bumping into someone on the street isn't happening right now. So our social media team is actually going to be starting to pepper some updates through our content, sort of a while you were out sneak peek series, so that people know that the work is ongoing. But Councillor Wall, if you'd like a specific update on either a component of the building, or if you want me to just get a bullet list from someone on that steering committee, I'm happy to do that.
That would be amazing. And then last thing I'd like to ask about, because I think I didn't talk about it in my council update. So last night on the agenda for the cultural hub, there was a request from the committee to ask Laurier to consider a proposal regarding the cultural hub space. And I was just wondering if that's anywhere on your personal radar, or who that falls to.
It's not on my personal radar at the moment, but I'd be happy to act as a contact and connect with the right people, or yeah.
Because in my head, just candid off, whatever. You have this beautiful space at One Market, and there are 2 or 3 even theater spaces. It doesn't matter. I just think that it's a very exciting opportunity and potential for working together with the city of Brantford and Laurier to provide something like a mid-sized performance theater space or cultural hub space together. And it just happened last night. It hasn't been ratified yet either. So it was just at committee level, but that's all. I just think it's really exciting. Could be very cool potential project for the downtown.
Yeah, and there's certainly Dr. Northwood is chairing the committee, the working group on One Market, and the need for a mid-sized performance space is definitely on that committee's radar.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you both. All right, we'll move on to Gagan.
Thank you, Barbara. Hi, everybody. Gagan Batra, Senior Project Manager of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. I'm just going to go through a couple of quick updates and let you guys know where we're at right now with the environmental assessment. So I think last time I may have not been able to provide my update because I think we lost quorum at that point.
Yes.
But just as an update, we are actively going through the virtual PIC #1 for downtown right now. The first video with the walkthrough slides went up back in November, at the end of November. And then we had another video that was just published December 21st, I believe, just before Christmas. And that video had a lot of questions and answers. So we compiled a lot of the comments and questions we had received from the community and included answers in that video. So if you haven't had a chance already, I would recommend watching that video. It was pretty comprehensive list of the feedback we've received to date. And following that, we do have another 4-week period open for questions and comments to accept additional feedback from the community following that video. So that question answer period is currently open and closing January 15th. So there are a couple of days left. So if anybody wants to provide feedback on the first PIC and has any additional questions that we haven't yet addressed in that video, I would definitely suggest submitting them in the next couple of days. We're planning on closing that on Friday at 4:30, and then we are going to post the last piece of the PIC on the 25th of January, which will just be a compiled FAQ list, and that'll be a PDF format up on the city's webpage. So there's still a few more opportunities to participate if anybody would like to, and I highly recommend that people take the opportunity now before the FAQ document goes up. So I'll just quickly run through some of the content that was in the Q&A video. So I think I may have provided the update earlier, but we did have a survey that went out on our website that we were promoting through Facebook and other means, where we were trying to get feedback from the community on how they use downtown, what their main functions are downtown, what they like about downtown, what they don't like about downtown. So we had a great response to that survey. We had about 420 people respond to that. And just some of the information that we received was compiled into our Q&A video. But some of the points that will really impact the streetscaping were questions about how do people get downtown when they come and how do they normally get around downtown. So it seems like from that survey, most of the people indicated that they drive to downtown when they come. But once they are downtown, mostly a lot of the folks indicated that they walk. So it's a really interesting result that we got, and it'll have some implications for us for parking, I know, which is of great interest to members of the BIA for how much parking we're going to allocate once we do the streetscaping, and also promoting better walkability, recognizing that a lot of folks still get around downtown by walking. So those are just some of the really interesting points that we found. And aside from that, we also asked a question about, like what are the most important things to you in downtown? And we asked people to rate 10 different items in terms of the most important to them to the least important. And not surprisingly, the number one where most people rated as their most important thing was safety, public safety, and promoting that feeling in the downtown. So while our EA isn't directly addressing any, social issues that might come up, any public safety, that's not the purpose of this EA. It's mostly in terms of the infrastructure and how do we support a better downtown experience. We did try to make it clear that we are understanding that safety is a huge priority for everybody in the community. And we are going to be taking measures and doing our studies, looking at all of the design options in terms of SEPTED principles, looking at it from a public safety lens to try to incorporate those features. So that was a really interesting and important point that we found out from that survey as well. And some of the other things that were really important to folks who responded to that survey were walkability, which will be directly impacted by the EA and the design that we do end up going with. Attracting new businesses was another big one for people. And another one was keeping the streets clear of litter. So this is stuff we kind of already knew and figured, but it was just really good to get that kind of validation that these are the important things to the community and what we should be focusing on as we're going through the EA process and making sure that we're making considerations for these within our design. So there was that, and following going through the survey results, we did compile the questions and answers, and really quickly, just some of the questions and feedback we received from people, which was fantastic, was we got a lot of feedback on what people's preferences were for one-way versus two-way traffic, which is great because, as I've mentioned before, that's still up for discussion whether we're going to be changing Dalhousie and Colborne from one-way to two-way. So any of that feedback is very, very helpful for us to better understand. We got a lot of questions about how are we going to better control for litter and curbside pickup. Lots of questions on how are we deciding how much is enough parking, questions about bike lanes and how are we connecting the bike lanes downtown to the greater cycling network. So those are some of the key questions and feedback that we received to date. But as I said, we're still accepting more questions. So if anybody has any more, I would definitely submit them if they haven't been covered yet. So that's pretty much where we're at with the EA. Once the FAQ document is posted on January 25th, we are going to be looking at all of the feedback we received again from the community members. We're still pretty early in the process. We haven't made any functional designs as of yet because we're still waiting on our technical studies to be concluded to give us a better idea of what is feasible and what's not for downtown. So as we're getting through those studies, we are going to be consulting and liaising with our stakeholder groups like Laurier, Conestoga, BIA, and everybody once again. And we are aiming to do another PIC hopefully in the spring. A lot of the timing is going to depend on how the COVID situation ends up going, but I'm hoping we can get another PIC going for spring once we have some more design options out there. So that was my update on the EA. I have another update on another initiative, but I don't know, Barbara, should I?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead,
Okay.
Gagan. Yeah, go ahead.
So just another of our projects. I think I mentioned it the first BIA board meeting that I attended, but the Main Street Revitalization initiative. I don't know if folks recall, but we had received some grant funding from the provincial government from AMO back in 2018, and it was to install new furniture in our downtown to improve the streetscaping. So we did procure benches, new bike racks, cigarette butt containers. We procured quite a few things, and I just got an update from our operations staff that they were able to install 8 benches and 11 new bike racks downtown. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that if you see the new benches and bike racks downtown, it's from that initiative, and there's still quite a bit more. We're just waiting to install them. I think it's just a little tough during the winter months, but we will be installing those over the next few months as well.
Thank you. There's so much going on.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a really long update. I think I started it by saying I don't have that much to say.
Well, we're pretty excited what the city's doing with the downtown. So whatever you have to say or do, it's all welcome. Thank you so much. All right. Any questions of Gagan while she's here? No, that was pretty thorough, Gagan. Thank you. Karen.
Well, I will keep my updates short.
Okay.
Conestoga College Brantford is still delivering their curriculum remotely, except at the airport and occasionally at the ECE building on Clarence Street. You do see a little bit of activity at 274 Colburn Street, as they are using that space for IELTS, which is English proficiency testing for local people. So there is a bit of activity there. 50 Wellington and 274 Wellington are supported by security 24/7. So they are in the buildings. I have heard from the president that they are exploring, depending on COVID, opening up maybe some programming for spring in the Brantford campus. It's all based on COVID. I'm very proud to say that we have had in the spring over 3,000 students at Conestoga and 4,000 in fall having to attend on-site delivery of curriculum. My portfolio now includes all of the international nursing and others, and there has been no community spread for any of those students that are having to attend some of their curriculum face-to-face to maintaining the quality of education that we want. We have very strict policies and practices in place with face shields, etc., when anyone has to be on campus. I have also heard that we have received extensive grants to offer PSW programs throughout the province of Ontario, and that there is a plan to offer a PSW program here in Brantford to support the Brantford community in long-term care. I'm not sure on a start date yet, but certainly it's on the radar to be delivering that curriculum here.
Excellent. Moving forward, despite COVID.
We're trying. It's very important when you talk about healthcare delivery programs that we have graduates to get out there working in these times. So thank heavens the provincial government is supporting those initiatives, and we're allowed to have class sizes of 10, which is very difficult, but still we're able to move forward.
Excellent. That's great. Good job, Karen.
Thanks.
All right. Brooke, last but not least.
Thank you. Just a few updates today. So our students returned remotely to campus on Monday, January 11th. The Student Union staff will continue to work remotely until further notice. We do not at the moment see any plans to return to office within, let's say, the next month, but that is still to be determined for the rest of the semester. Our Students Union Food Bank continues to operate to serve our students, and we are currently exploring new ways to support students who live outside of Brantford but still require our services. And then lastly, our Laurier Votes election campaign is underway to elect our new 2021 Student Union President, along with the Board of Directors and student senators.
Great, thank you so much. All right, I don't think any of the committees are meeting, so we don't have any committee updates. No, I don't think so. All right, anything else for the good of the BIA? Yes, Dwight?
Is this a discussion, open discussion time?
Yes, it is.
I just had a question of Councillor Wall with regard to the renovations of the City Hall, and if the contractor is on time, and when the, or if there's been any steps, and is the proposed opening time still the same? Now, I know with the new lockdown legislation from the province here, they're talking about halting some construction because of the COVID problem, but I was just wondering how that's going along.
So prior to the announcement yesterday, I had heard that everything was on track and everything was going well. We actually had a scheduled meeting upcoming for that. The name of the committee eludes me, forgive me. I don't have an update since the announcement, since yesterday, unfortunately. It's non-essential construction, I believe, is halted. So I don't know whether, because it's a government building, we're exempt from that. Typically, government is exempt from most of those things, but I don't have the answer. I apologize.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so I think we've come to the end of our meeting. Thank you everyone for attending. Thank you, Sergeant Parker and Steve for joining us particularly, and Liz. All right, yes, Dwight, go ahead.
Writing here.
Go ahead, Dwight. Did you have a question, Dwight?
I was going to make the motion to adjourn.
Ah, thank you, sir. All right, do you have a seconder? Carrie, thank you. All in favor? Thank you, everyone. Be safe.
Thank you.